What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today we're going to talk about the travel vlogger, right? Because if you guys know that in some of my other videos, I've lightly explained the struggles of the travel vlogger and how the travel vlogger is having a hard time right now because social media algorithm has changed to where the vlogger can't make as much money as they used to. I mean, people was really killing it, like back in the day. Right, but now that they don't actually share the people who subscribe to you, your videos, which doesn't make sense. You subscribe to somebody because you want to see their videos when they come up, but YouTube and other social media platforms don't believe that you want to see those videos, when they pop up. That's why when you press subscribe and notification, YouTube disregards that because, they're doing their own thing, right? So that really messed it up for those who put a lot of effort in their content. And I don't think there's anybody who put more effort into their content than travel vloggers, right? And behind the scenes, travel vlogging is tough, especially when you're traveling all over the place, various different countries. They romanticize it. Oh, they're at the airport, they're looking comfortable, they're on the plane, they jet setting, you know what I'm saying? They got premium, they got bumped up to coach premium. They're all, we're in this country, I got this Airbnb, oh, I'm out here, things are so cheap. Like, these travel vloggers are spending most of their money to buy tickets and hotels in order to entertain their subscribers. Most of these travel vloggers are suffering through long delays from point A to point B. There's nothing glamorous about traveling continuously. There's really nothing. I mean, it looks cool for those who've never been anywhere. It looks cool for those who've never traveled. I mean, yes, you want to sow your royal oats. You want to spread your seed of traveling when you first get the opportunity to do it. But once you do it a lot, right, and once you've been to enough places, you start to realize that especially when you've been to like enough places, you start to realize most places are pretty much the same, right? Infrastructure, even if you go to Africa to Europe, to be honest, the most infrastructure is the same. From Africa to Asia, most infrastructure is the same. You got your poor class, right, who are struggling, right? Most of that infrastructure looks the same, right? You got your middle class, which doesn't exist most places around the world. Middle class is an accident of Western capitalism. It wasn't meant on purpose. That's why there's no mechanisms to maintain the middle class, because the middle class, it was an accident of the Industrial Revolution and certain mechanisms of capitalism. But that's on its way out, because it's supposed to be the lower class and then the rich taking advantage of the lower class, right? That's why if you're in the middle class, you sometimes feel like you're in the lower class, even though you have middle class amenities, right? But them bills make sure to keep you down there in the lower class, at least mentally and financially, right? So you got to understand those are the dynamics that we have to deal with, all right, when it comes to all this stuff, right? And so travel vloggers spend the majority of their money, and usually they make their money off ad revenue and things like that, and they glamorize the place that they go because they have to make their show entertaining, right? They got to make it entertaining. But at the same time, it also gives a false narrative to a lot of people. So that's why you get one content creator say, yeah, I'm in Kenya. And all of a sudden, there's a whole bunch of other ones following behind them going to Kenya because the first person vlogger went there, edited their videos, and made it look like it was so sweet and everything was so smooth. And, if they're African Americans, they're not saying a lot of the stuff that they could say, like the corruption, the unprofessionalism of many different places, right? It's only kind of cool to talk about corruption, like you notice in Africa for black content creators, but the corruption in Africa is consistent with the corruption in every other country you go to. You go to Europe, corruption, people begging at the airport. You don't think they do that? They do that at the airport too. Asia, they're begging at the airport. They do that shit too. Everybody, they all do that, right? From the mud huts to the really nice mansions, infrastructure is pretty much the same everywhere. It's just that the person who takes the camera and shows it, they're creating narrative. So the narrative you've seen about Africa was all mud huts and this and that and this and that, and everybody's starving, nobody got nothing, right? You go to Asia, they manufacture everything, they eat all the weird foods. Europe is perfect. Europe is great and awesome, it's first world, right? But you go to Europe, you notice that, yeah, it's first world in those cities, but then when you go out to the rural areas, equivalent to an African rural area, you'll find people living in villages, living in mud huts. And then you go further out, you find people living in even less accommodating modern conditions, right? Same way in Asia. Most of Asia looks like the village in Africa. Most of China as advanced as it looks like when they give you that poster card video on TikTok, most of China, about 80% of China, these people are living in what you would call mud huts in the village, farmers, right, in the rural areas. It's just, but China does a good job of global projection, what they want people to see, just like America. Does a great job of making people believe that America is New York, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, L.A., everybody's rich, everybody's doing good, but you come into America and you'll find people basically living in mud huts. They can't even afford mud huts because living in the mud huts is illegal because it violates some sort of code or something like that. And since nobody can tax a mud hut, they won't let you even live in a mud hut. People living in boxes and tents and under bridges and making makeshift homes out of scraps and shit. And you go further out, and there's people living with less modern amenities than that. We got places called, we got places where homeless people gather together in the thousands in order to survive, right? You got Slab City. I mean, how many places around the world got Slab City? We glorify Slab City as a revolutionary, place where rebels who want to rage against the machine and don't want to pay bills and want to get off grid. We call it off grid living, right? We call it off grid living, but when we see it happen in Africa, we calling them savage loincloth barbarians who don't got nothing and don't want to do anything. In Asia they call them lying flat or doing nothing, or the group who don't do anything because they want to break away from society. It's all about perception, right? But the travel vlogger who creates the perception is both spending all his or her goddamn money, is not as sweet as it is, because most, traveling and seeing different things, you start to realize most things pretty much look the same. You got yourself concrete, you got dirt roads, you got fish, you got markets, you got it's all the same shit. Just different people, pretty much doing the same shit with slightly different variations. It can get boring even if you're seeing different groups of people, every time, but it can get boring and tiresome. And so I just wanted to make a video to talk about the travel. But I don't consider myself a travel vlogger, even though I do travel and I vlog it. I'm not a travel vlogger. I don't consider myself a vlogger, an influencer, a podcaster, any of that shit. Me, I'm just a dude on the internet. That's me. Yo, y'all classify me as a dude on the internet. That's me, man. Don't give me none of that shit. I'm just the dude on the internet with a camera phone running my goddamn mouth like everybody else. I don't need no fancy title. I got enough titles. I'm good. I don't need that. I may be influencing people, but other people influence me, right? So, and I don't have a podcast, right? Everybody got a podcast, huh? I just got a cell phone I'm paying the bill for. That's it. I just turn the camera on, sit in my chair, and be right in my mouth. That's it. That's all I'm doing. That's it. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
So there are a lot of problems I see with travel influencing and travel content, and I think we all need to be mindful of what we're consuming and what that contributes to. And this is an open discussion, not a criticism of a certain person or anything like that. But as a person who probably does travel more than the average person, there's a lot of things I see that I really have qualms with. I cannot tell you how many times I have been to a temple, a hike, something like the Blue Lagoon, an attraction of a place, and I have watched people walk in, take their photo or get in line to take their photo and walk out. They don't take a single moment to appreciate the experience that they're actually having. I think, we always want the aesthetics here on TikTok and other social media platforms, and I totally understand why they're doing that. And I also understand that if you're a travel influencer, you need lots of content, and so you are racing through experiences. For someone like me, of course I take pictures, of course I take video, of course I post stuff to share with people, but I definitely am the kind of person who I'd rather see less things in a city if I don't have enough time than to race through and not actually appreciate any of it. I also see a lot of people going on these trips or posting stuff about the trips who are never interacting with the people who actually live in this place, which I think is inherently, it's giving colonizer. We need to learn about each other's cultures. We need to learn to appreciate each other. I hear a lot of people complaining about locations on this app where it is very obvious to me that they went there for photos They went there for the story. They went there for the content, but they did not go there for the culture. They did not go there for the people. They did not go there for the learning experience. And I'm not trying to say I'm right, you're wrong, but I think that you will inherently miss out on so much self-enrichment if you don't do those things. And it's really hard for me to hear people criticize places where it is very obvious that they did not go into it with like pure intentions either. They went into it to get something out of that. They are farming that place for content. They are farming that place for money through their social media accounts. And so the fact that they had to wait in 2 hours in line for a photo really ruined it for them. Instead of taking that time to talk to people, experience the place that they're actually in, they're just impatient that it's wasting their time. And quite frankly, people like that oftentimes ruin the experience for other people who don't go there with that intention. And they are typically the people that a city or a place starts to complain about the tourists and how they act and how they treat things. Because when you aren't being open to a new experience, you aren't open to the idea that this place isn't like where you live, and that's okay too, and you're just critical of a place, you don't have the best attitude. That whether that's when you're going out to dinner, you're on a bus, you're at the airport, you're have a very individualistic mindset and are only worried about what you want to get out of this place. Again, a very colonization kind of mindset. So really here, all I'm asking you to do is to think about things before you watch a video all the way through, before you follow travel influencers. Do you see them interacting with locals? Do you see them complaining a lot about other places and the way that they do things? Is all you see posted on them that photo op that you see on every other travel influencers list? Do you see them volunteering or immersing themselves in the culture in any way? Do you see them having thoughtful, critical responses to what they've seen? Do you see them donating money after, or doing other things to help that community, or be concerned about that community, or share that community's culture? If not, I personally wouldn't follow that person. I am all for people getting on this or any other app and sharing their experiences with traveling, their knowledge about traveling, their do's, their don'ts, what they've learned from that experience, or what people should see. I think that that's important. Even I get on here before trips and look for people to kind of see like what I'm getting myself into, or what I should do or what I shouldn't do. I 100% am all about you getting that photo, but that will never be the number one priority for me. And I think that's the problem when people make this a job, is for me, I'm going into it for the experience and the knowledge and the connection to humanity that I gain. And yes, I will come here and tell you what I did or didn't like or shouldn't have done or could have done better, or share my photos and videos from the experience, but I will never sacrifice the experience and the connection to the people there to get a photo. There's a million times I have been to a spot that has like the photo op that I have opted out of doing it for whatever reason to get something else that's more valuable to me out of that trip. And I see a lot of people doing the opposite, where it's all about the photos, it's all about the content, and it's not about the substance. And that really just gets under my skin a little bit.
Guys, I'm about to show you what real travel blogging looks like. It's so glamorous. Do you even work? All you do is travel. Well, I just took a 10-hour flight from the US to London. Now I'm waiting 3 hours to go on another flight to Qatar, another 11-hour flight. Then another 2-hour flight to Sri Lanka. And then a 5-hour drive to the middle of the country to meet everybody. Does 30 hours of flight time alone sound glamorous? Do these clothes for 2 days look glamorous? I don't think so. Do you? Because I would kill for a shower right now. But it's gonna be worth it.
Okay, so the one thing that nobody talks about with traveling is how tiring it can be. Like, I am exhausted. All I want to do is curl up in my bed and sleep for 2 days. And that's just the reality of where I'm at right now. And I wanted to just come on here and say, yes, the pictures are beautiful. Yes, the country's amazing. But also, I'm tired. And I'm realizing I have till Friday here. Did I like make a mistake? Am I here too long? That's just what's running through my head. I wanted to be honest because I feel like I've been showing all the highs, but I also want to show the lows of solo traveling for an extended period of time.
As somebody who loves to travel, right? If you're not following my YouTube channel, please subscribe. Winnie's World. I make travel content, predominantly solo women travel content. I've been thinking long and hard recently, and long stays in Europe do not excite me. Yeah, I've come to the realization I prefer sticking to day trips or short little weekenders, maybe a quick 2-3 nights at a push. But like, I have an upcoming trip booked, which I'm sure I'm going to change. And for the life of me, as time has been drawing closer, I just don't really feel interested. It's got nothing to do with the destination. The destination is cool. I've been there before, had a fantastic time. But I just think I'm in a different stage where I'm kind of like, yeah, for me, Europe trips, if I have it my way, I just want to keep it to a weekend, a day trip. And I would prefer using my annual leave for more long haul. Obviously, of course, if I'm going to like a festival or there's some sort of event, that's quite different. But outside of that, I'm just like, I don't want to do 4 to 5 nights in Europe. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather use my annual leave and go somewhere else, the Caribbean, Africa, Asia, anywhere, long haul. Anyway, that's just my random kind of travel thoughts this morning. I'm probably the only one, so I'm not even going to ask.
So the main reason I wanted to do this series is I've traveled quite a bit, over 40 countries across like 3 continents, seen a lot, and basically all throughout my whole travels, what I've really learned is that most people on Earth suffer, and most people on Earth are just good people trying to make a living, trying to provide for their loved ones, and they suffer, and they don't really have a good quality of life, and they don't deserve it. And it's really depressing to see, because they're usually really, really good people, very kind, gentle, just trying to get by. And then you go on the internet, social media, and most travel-related content, not all, but most travel content creators are just white people from Western countries, specifically white Westerners, and they treat the Earth like their playground, and they treat people in each country like props to serve their channel interests and to serve their own personal interests. And they're looked at by their fans as like these virtuous people just because they travel. And all they are just a bunch of narcissists with cameras. And these people deserve to be mocked and ridiculed. That's why I do personal attacks. I attack their looks, and I make fun of them because they deserve it. And that's basically what they're doing to the countries that they go to. So I think it's fair game. Years ago, when like travel content creating first took off, I never found any of it to be interesting. Like talking about YouTubers, most of the YouTubers that are famous, like Bald and Bankrupt, Kurt Cass, I find their videos boring, honestly. I don't know how they have such a huge following with so many views. But yeah, it's fair game. And I'm here to knock these people down a peg because I just don't like how they treat people in most countries and their attitudes in most countries. Like I said, they treat Earth like a playground. And they're the most privileged demographic in the human race. So they deserve to be mocked, you know? Just don't advocate for violence and don't dox people. But other than that, I think it's fair game, bro. Sorry for all you fanboys who get hurt by it. All you fanboys that are in my DMs giving me death threats because I made a joke about Bald and Bankrupt. I said he was a fat middle-aged man who made shit content.
Yep, time to go. That motherfucker coming over here. Woo, shit. Hey, Carlo, bitch, look behind you. Woo, shit, motherfucker.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.